Welcome to CSL TV, and I just hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is just a review, a reaction, as well as an informational channel. Hopefully the informational part help you and someone out, and we just gonna watch some videos and talk about them. Now, if you've been rocking with me, I appreciate you so much. I know I've been slacking lately. You know, I've been going through some things. Got a little facial cellulitis appeared, you know, on top of my back problems and stuff from my accident, so it's been real hard to record and do stuff. But anyway, hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Let's get it.
Prosecutors say a teen in Iowa just got life in prison for killing his Spanish teacher because he was failing her class. Prosecutors say two 16-year-olds ambushed her on her daily walk and beat her with a baseball bat. Court documents say she was found under a tarp and a wheelbarrow at the park where she walks and had suffered head trauma. Now, both teens were charged as adults with first-degree murder. They both pleaded guilty. Now, the teen who was just sentenced has the possibility of parole in 35 years. The other teen sentencing is scheduled for August.
We about to get into some content from that chapter, and the title was like, her husband or her fiance, friends, all that ganged up on her. But if you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's just a review, a reaction, as well as an informational channel. You know, nothing special, but let's get it.
And a searcher noticed fresh tire marks in the desert. As they followed them, they noticed on the ground blood. Michaela had been beaten and stabbed to death. Now, let's go back to 1994, because that is when Mickey Costanzo was born. Michaela was the daughter of Celia and Teddy, born in May of '94. She grew up in West Wendover with her sisters, Christina, Jennifer, Kim, and Amy. She was a great student and a star athlete. Now, she would usually get a ride home after school, but that day, 2011, when our story takes place, it fell true. Her sister, who usually collected her older sister, she was out of town. But the Costanzo's house was only like a mile down the road, so it wasn't a hell of a walk. And so, 16-year-old Michaela Costanzo was expected home not much later than usual. But it reached much later than usual with no sign of her. Her mom called, to check on her, see what the scale was, and so, phone rang like normal, but it kept ringing. Celia then, about a minute later, tried to call Michaela again. But this time the phone didn't ring at all. Michaela was reported missing that evening to the West Wendover police. They searched around town, nothing. They went to the school, and by all accounts, she had left. She had left the school like normal. Her boyfriend, Javier, he was questioned.
How's she been acting lately?
I don't know, she's been acting pretty fine. Like, if something was wrong, she'd vent. She's not one of those girls that hides her feelings.
Her phone records, they were gathered to see who she'd been speaking with, and they found something interesting. She had made a lot of calls after track practice. Till about 5 p.m, a lot of calls coming and going. Then it all abruptly stopped. Well, it turned out to be a friend of hers, a Cody Patton. Cody was someone people around Michaela were all too familiar with, and had been since she was a tyke. Cody was Michaela's oldest friend, and they remained somewhat close to this day. He was 2 years older than Michaela, he was on the football team, and someone who looked out for her. She was like a little sister to him. He said he was at the school, the same time she was. He saw her, he started speaking to her out the front of the school, but he said he saw her with someone, a mysterious person. Now, to quote Cody, a small Mexican. But Cody thought it was her boyfriend Javier at first, but it wasn't. And the search for Michaela Costanzo continued, to the great desert beyond. And a searcher noticed fresh tire marks in the desert. As they followed them, they noticed on the ground blood, and digging a little, a body. Before any identification was done, they had a pretty good idea that this was the missing 16-year-old. Michaela had been beaten and stabbed to death. It had been vicious. She'd been stabbed in the face and neck many times over. Her hands had been zip-tied, making it appear like she'd been abducted. And with blood on the ground, abducted from the school on her way home.
And she was abducted, I don't even like saying that word, but she was abducted from school. They ain't had no security guards, no cameras, nothing. Just, we see somebody we're gonna take. Oh, there she is, let's grab her.
Taken here, murdered, and buried in the desert. Well, she had been in the school that afternoon like normal, had left the locker room, and the CCTV didn't show her with some mysterious man. No, she appeared to have left with Cody Patton, or at least was in the same part of the school as him. In fact, it appeared she had left through the back door. Again, Cody only other person in that area. Cody said this is what happened. He bumped into her outside of school and he offered to give her a ride home. Right, as her usual ride wasn't there. His sister wasn't there, so he said, here, listen, hop in, I'll drop you home. Then, in the car, while they're driving, he said Michaela, out of the blue, demanded that Cody dump his fiancé, Tony Fratto, and get with him. Even though Michaela already had a boyfriend anyway, Javier, but okay. And so, when he, that idea, she went apeshit, he said. Then, somehow, they ended up in the middle of the desert outside his car. She pushed him. He said, well, Uno reverse card, and pushed her back. She fell, she cracked her head off a rock, and she started seizing up. Then, well, I guess that's that.
I'm sorry, that story did not sound right. You did what? Because she wanted to get with you and wanted you to break up with your fiance. So you killed her. That does not sound right to me. We gonna listen to this story and see exactly. I hope it's more detailed about it because this don't sound right.
That's that. He got a shovel and started digging, as you do. However, she was still seizing, so he then hit her with the shovel, and when that didn't work, he got out a knife and slit her throat. Instead of going for help, he then buried her in the desert. Cody Patton was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He was admitting to it, but that doesn't make any sense at all. But he was gonna go on trial regardless. His dream of joining the Marines over. His coming nuptials, well, they were still on though. Tony, she stood by her man. I mean, he said he slit her throat to end her misery, to put her out of her misery, but she was stabbed all over the face and the neck. It was 1 month later that Tony walked into Cody Patton's attorney's office and asked him if she could make a statement. She only wore PJs, she brought nothing with her, as if she expected not to be leaving. And she had a story to tell, one that was different from Cody's, about what really happened that day. Her story was this. After school that day, Cody texted her, simply saying, I got her. Then Tony got in the car. The three of them then drove off to the desert. Then this happened. Cody started digging, and together they started hitting her. They started stabbing her. Tony had even held down Michaela's legs while Cody slit her throat open. Tony too was arrested and charged with murder. But little Miss Plant, she had something she shouldn't have, and the police found it. She kept a diary, and in the diary she wrote about her love for Cody, but also her insecurities, her feelings of inadequacy, her fears that Cody was gonna leave her for another woman, and her jealousy of any woman Cody ever talked to. Maybe women whose name began like Michaela. So she was very jealous. Cody wasn't the controlling one, Tony was. Cody couldn't talk to another woman. If Cody was seen talking to another woman, or Tony found out about it, she would hit the roof. That at least provided a real motive for Michaela's murder, to try and solve the mystery. Cody was ultimately sentenced to life without parole. In 2012, Tony pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, that she was forced to do whatever had been done by Cody, and she was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 18 years. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of each other, and take care of your...
So you mean to tell me she had a mental episode? And I'm not like saying she had to go to the crazy place or anything like that. Or to the facility to get help, I should say. Meaning, mentally, she was so insecure with herself that they came up with this sick, twisted stuff to do this to this girl. That's sad, man. You know, the story definitely was fabricated. And now we got into the details of what they really did. But again, man, that's sad. Rest in peace to her soul. And I wouldn't wish that on nobody.